welcome to the Dojotalkpodcast. Please remove them shoes before entry. Sam Master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes.
Yeah. Living every day to define man's mission. Looking to the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Talk Podcast. I am your host, Serial Sensei. We're on episode number 59. I'm back with my co-host, the Anti-Cool. It is Saturday night at 8:47 p.m. What's going on, man?
My man, might want to check that date again.
Oh, yes. Oh, Lord, it's Sunday. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, it's Sunday. I'm gonna try not to sound tired this entire podcast.
I mean, I do it every podcast, so.
Yeah. Between yesterday and today, I've done a lot of driving, and don't get me wrong, my weekend's been awesome, but like you just don't realize how much driving takes out of you until you finally get out the car and you sit down, and it's like it just hits you all at once. But weekend's been cool. So it's been pretty awesome weekend. I can't complain. How's your weekend?
Today I learned that Amish romance novels are a thing. And I also learned that the Amish can't read novels. Like they're not supposed to.
So hold on. So whoever made the Amish romance novel is either a rebel Amish or somebody who's just.
And I've been struggling all day. For that, yeah. Like who would write such a thing? And then like who would read such a thing? What's the hook?
There's some weird Amish fetish out there. So somebody found the Amish fetish market, and they have it cornered.
Apparently, because this one company has like 50 million different Amish romance novels. And like I'm just sitting here like, what can you get out of this? Like I get it if it's like like Victorian England. I get it, like forbidden romances, forced marriages, like all that good stuff. And I'm not familiar enough with Amish culture to like get that, like to understand if that's something that's like rampant in like Amish country. But like that's really weird. Like you don't have to put it in Amish country to make it a thing. Like you can just put it in the 1800s.
They gotta stand out. They have to separate themselves from the rest of the.
Like Ethan Frome is a thing. That's a book we have.
I don't know how many copies that book is selling. Oh, so is it one book or is this like a series?
No, it's a disconnect. It's like an umbrella.
Oh man. Oh yeah, I told you they got the market cornered.
Like Amish romance novels, and it's been bugging me all day. I went in today on a Sunday to the library because we were shifting books, and I come across these 50 Shades of Amish books, or what like.
And the first page she uses an iPhone.
Okay, here we go. The most Amish romance novels are read by evangelical Christian women.
What?
The three most successful authors of Amish romance, Beverly Lewis, Cindy Woodsmall, and Wanda Brunstetter, have sold over 24 million books.
What? What have I been writing this whole time?
You see, you fucked up.
I missed out. See, they probably have a monopoly on this now, so I can't even get in. Like they,
Like, you got to find a new angle. You got to make one of the Amish black.
there we go, there we go.
That is really forbidden.
24 million. That is ridiculous.
Like, and you know what? This makes perfect sense to me because like all these women look like old moms. Like, because they're all egomaniacs, and the back cover is literally just a giant picture of their face, and they all look like the worst of the '80s, like boring moms from movies.
Oh man. There truly is. There's something out there for everybody.
How you
Like,
sell 24 million bucks and you don't have a Wikipedia page?
hey, that means they're balling undercover. Like those authors are just the regular people we see in Walmart in the produce aisle. But like,
Dude, they like hold up. I'm gonna see if I can find a picture of this woman, Miss One. Oh my! This woman works at a library. Like I just look, she's a librarian. Like I know it. I know it in my heart to be true. And she writes this while she's sitting there in the middle of the day doing nothing.
Oh man.
Look at her.
All right, hold up. About the. Oh man, yeah. She either works at a library or she is like, I can't even say secretary. I don't even know if she has the.
See,
Yeah.
my whole thing was like, this is appropriation, obviously. And I'm like, I wonder how the Amish people feel about this. So in the wiki article here, it has this reactions to works of Amish romance among Amish themselves range from baffled by things like deadly buggy accident themes to repulsed by evangelical notions of personal relationships with Jesus Christ, which are inconsistent with the Amish view of salvation. Some argue that the non-Amish authors fail to understand Amish theology and how it differs in key areas from mainstream Christianity. Thus, they present characters who may appear Amish but maintain evangelical Christian worldviews.
So they're doing to Amish what we do to like anime movies.
They're doing to the Amish what, like, yeah, like what? Why the Amish?
I don't know why, but somehow when I look at her picture, it all makes sense, and I don't know why it does. But oh man, yeah, this is
Did they
the
just hear Amish Paradise and they just ran with it?
this is the lady in the produce aisle who's moving really slow in her cart, and I have to walk around her. Oh man, we got you guys with a history lesson as soon as the podcast started. None of you knew this existed. I'm pretty sure.
I'm sorry you know it now exists.
Yeah, go read some Amish romance. You know.
Go to your local library. I'm sure they have copies. We literally have like. I'm assuming the reason these women have like 24 million copies sold between them is because they each have like 30 to 40 different books by themselves.
Man, I almost want to know like what is the mindset to write an Amish romance novel, but that's a whole nother.
Apparently, it's to make a lot of money.
Yeah, it worked. 24 mil. I can only hope one day. If I get outsold by an Amish romance novel, I'm gonna see. They gave me something to strive for now. I have new goals and new aspirations to reach to.
Oh my God, there's an Amish vampire book.
Oh man.
Oh my God, there's several Amish vampire books. Amish vampires in space.
Oh, that can't be real. That can't be real.
Are you questioning me right now?
You got it. Send the link. Hold on. Oh no. Guys, we're gonna talk about fights soon, but I have to see this. I have to see this. Hold on.
I don't even want to anymore.
Oh no! What is this? Amish vampires in space. This author's name Carrie Nietz, Nietz. This cover, um, yeah, um,
I wanted to hit my friend up, but it's like 2 o'clock where he is right now, and I wanted to ask him, Amish romance novels, why?
oh man. So you know, good for
Oh my
anybody.
God, they're called bonnet rippers.
The rabbit hole goes too deep. We gotta leave this alone. But for you guys out there, when this podcast is over, just go browse the world of Amish novels, and you got vampires, you got romance, you got everything. There's got to be an Amish action novel out there somewhere. Don't Google that. Don't Google it. But there's got to be one. There's an Amish John Wick somewhere. he's out there somewhere. Oh man. Oh man. Shout outs to the Amish people. I'm sorry that these authors are probably butchering your culture and your, beliefs and.
For starters, the Amish don't believe in violence.
Oh, all right.
So Amish John Wick is a heretic.
Oh man. Well, I mean, I guess if that means they're butchering your culture, I guess that kind of means you made it, right? You're that popular that people just want to.
Weird Al made a song about them, man. Like, that's all they need.
Yeah. Oh man. But.
Hold on, I got a segue here. Speaking of often misrepresented, undervalued cultures in American society today, we have our first Navajo UFC world champion, and probably combat sports world champion, to be honest with you, because I can't think of another one. So the Tough 26 finale went down on Friday. Did you watch it?
I was half watching it, but unfortunately I missed most of the main card. I was watching Tough 26 and Glory 48 simultaneously, but I had to work the next morning. So, but I would do want to give some shout outs though, to the fights I did watch. Shayna Dobson and Ariel Beck. Shayna won by TKO. Rachel Ostovich had a nice armbar in her fight. Ryan James pulled off this wild comeback versus Andrew Sanchez in a fight where he was getting destroyed in the first round and came back like a zombie to win by TKO in the third. But I unfortunately missed the main card, so I missed the awesome calf slicer that I heard about that I didn't see.
Yeah.
And I wanted to watch Sean O'Malley and Terrion Ware, but I missed that. And I wanted to support Roxanne, and then I ended up missing that fight too. So
I'm kind of upset because I was really looking forward to coming on here and saying, like, JMMA finally has its savior, and it's perfectly fitting that she's a weeb. But your Tough 26, your inaugural UFC flyweight champion, and your Tough 26 winner is Nico Montano. I don't remember where she was in the house. 1 second. She was seeded number 14 in the house.
And didn't she beat? I can't remember. I heard like she beat like seed 8-4 or something. Like she beat a lot of like.
So she beat Lauren Murphy, Montana Stewart, and Roxanne Modafferi. Lauren Murphy was the number 3 seed. Montana Stewart was the number 6 seed. Barb Honchak was the number 2 seed. Roxanne was the number 1 seed. She beat the 1, 2, and number 6 seed, number 3 seed to win the title. Oh, wait. We forgot to mention that Roxanne Modafferi was supposed to be in this fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't she? What happened?
Okay, so Sajara Eubanks, who I believe is the sister of former UFC fighter Mike Easton. Don't quote me on that, but I feel like that's their brother and sister. was supposed to be in the title fight. She had beaten Roxanne on the show. She actually had a really good run through the show, to be honest. She beat Maya Stevenson by submission. She beat Deanna Bennett by knockout. Roxanne by unanimous decision in a 3-round fight. So I'm assuming that went the extra round. But she failed. I don't know if she failed to make weight or I don't know if she failed to make weight first or not. But her weight cut basically stopped her liver, and she had to go to the hospital, and she could not be cleared to fight.
Ouch.
Yeah, and if you watch the show, it was actually like a reoccurring theme that Eubanks almost died trying to make weight every time in the house. So this is not really a surprise. She's probably not going to be at flyweight. If like the UFC will probably keep her around, but if nothing else but out of spite, they'll probably force her to take fights at bantamweight. Which is fair because if you're cutting enough weight that your body is shutting down, you're probably in the wrong weight class.
Yeah. That still gotta suck. How do they make them like? You would think there's like, I guess it can't really be like a safeguard, but like you're on tough, so you're fighting like pretty consistently, and you have to make weight every time. Like that can't be.
Well, Eubanks isn't. I want to say like she's fought her whole career like bantamweight or something. I think she had like one fight at flyweight. I could be wrong. Flyweight, bantamweight. She fought Caitlin Chikagian at flyweight once, and that was her only time making the weight. Her other two professional fights were bantamweight.
Well, from what I heard, Roxanne made the best of the opportunity to get that fight again. But once again, I didn't see it, but I heard it was a pretty great fight.
Oh no, it was again. If you came into this and you're like, it's a UFC title fight, I expected better. You're probably not going to enjoy it. But if you come into this knowing that Montano still like has only been fighting for like 2 years, Roxanne Modafferi is as great as she is. Her athletic prime was like 10 years ago. But it was a great action fight. Modafferi, with 30 seconds left, almost hit an armbar that it was in pretty damn deep. But at the last second, Montano popped out. Just like a crazy brawl on the feet, really. Modafferi was trying. Modafferi rocked her like a few times, actually. But Montano stuck it out. She had the more consistent like stretch of where she was winning. She didn't land like the big clean shots like Modafferi did, but she landed a lot more on volume and everything like that. And like props, like you beat the number 1, 2, and 3 fighter in the house. All 3 are top 10 fighters. Like this is what the UFC wanted to happen with the flyweight season, where Tim Elliott just ended up beating everybody.
Well, I'll have to go back and eventually watch that. But yeah, shout outs to Nico, first ever UFC women's flyweight champ. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how long she's gonna get a chance to hold that belt. But
I expect her to turn into a really good fighter eventually, like a Rose Namajunas type. She's nowhere near like the athlete Rose is, or has like as deep an arsenal. But like I expect her to grow in the UFC and like to do it well, because the way she did it on the show, like just to do it in that type of atmosphere with like going to the season, she was talking about like, oh, I'm going to try out for Tough, and if I don't make it, that's it for this fighting thing. And her record's kind of deceptive because her 2 losses are to Pam Sorensen, who is, I want to say, like a top 10 featherweight, and Julia Avila, who's a 4-0 bantamweight. So when your losses are really to like 2 other really good prospects, they really don't count for much, especially this early career.
But I feel like her first title defense is gonna be against Paige if Paige gets past
I mean,
Rose Clark.
it's better than her first title defense being against freaking Valentina Shevchenko,
Yeah, that is true.
because she's the best fighter in that division now.
Yeah. But yeah,
Oh,
shout outs. Oh,
no, I was just gonna say just real quick, the Sean O'Malley Tyrion Ware fight before we jump off, because there's not really a whole lot to talk about from here. Like you said, the only other interesting thing on this card was not interesting. The only other crazy thing on this card was Janice versus Sanchez.
yeah.
But Sean O'Malley, Tyrion Ware, O'Malley took a decision over Ware. Won the first and the third. He looked a lot like he did when he fought I forget the man's name, when he fought in the Dana White Contender Series.
Hmm.
In the first, he was bouncing around. He was quicker. He was throwing a lot of volume.
He reminds me of like a Bruce Leroy, but hits a bit harder.
Yep, basically. Yeah, he's really unorthodox. He slowed down like ridiculously in the second round. Like Ware was lighting him up, but I think Ware overestimated how much he could push the pace, because he pushed the pace for the first 2 rounds pretty damn hard. Like O'Malley was like teeing off on him in the first, and Ware was just like trying to walk his way through it. He did really good with the body shots, but like O'Malley just stormed back in the third round, like pulled it out of his ass and really just poured it on, and Ware was almost going out at certain points.
Yeah. Shout out to Sean O'Malley though. He's a guy to keep an eye on. Like he seems like one of those guys that he'll win or lose, he'll put on fun fights.
Yep.
Basically
then,
like a Bruce Leroy.
yeah, if you will follow him on Instagram, you can catch him like smoking weed with like Snoop Dogg.
There you go. Actually, before this fight, he said something. I'm gonna butcher the joke. He did say something about smoking a joint or smoking Terry on before this fight. I just can't remember the exact tweet, but yeah. So tough 26, new flyweight champ, or first flyweight champ. I guess transitioning on to other news, we'll just run through a few of these real quick. Guess we'll do fight announcements first. Jacare versus Derek Brunson is finally happening. They've agreed to do the fight in Charlotte, so that'll be in Brunson's backyard. Dooho Choi and Jeremy Stevens, Derek Lewis, Marcin Tabora, Hector Lombard, and CB Dollaway. For some reason, that fight caught me off guard, but you know that's going to be a thing. DC and Volkan Ozdemir is now official. I don't have in front of me what pay-per-view that's on.
220.
All right, there we go. So, hey man, that'll be a an interesting fight. We might see Volkan fight for more than 9 seconds. That's pretty much, I believe, it for fight announcements. Oh, and for anybody that cares, Royce Gracie's son, Connery. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Khonry Gracie will be making his Bellator debut. His MMA debut at Bellator 192. I'm not sure if he has an opponent lined up, but yeah, that's the thing. Gracie's back at it. Donald Cerrone is dropping back to lightweight. He is allegedly not going to fight 80 times a year, so we'll see how that works out. And GSP is out with some injury that I can't pronounce and I don't have pulled up in front of me at the moment. But he had mentioned it before though, so
Is it an injury or is it like a sickness? Like I really don't know.
I can't remember. It's called like colitis or something. It's some weird name, but he had mentioned it before. I think he mentioned it before, like after he won the belt, about something he had that had been bothering him. But so that's not sure how long it's going to keep him out, but I guess he's probably going to be out for like an unspecified amount of time, so who knows how long that'll be. But yeah, it's pretty much. Oh, and I don't want to stay on this too long, but I guess we have to talk about it, and I'll let you tell this story because I didn't really click on it. I just saw it, and I was like, oh, That sounds crazy, but Connor's name is in it, so it's probably true. And then I just kept going on about my day.
Yeah. So yeah, Connor is in got himself into another little scrap apparently, and this is all rumored. Though Connor's kind of been teasing that it might actually be true, but he's also like a carny, so um so apparently Connor was in Crumlin, like in his home neighborhood in Dublin, and he went to the bar and he got in a fight and he ended up punching a young man and an old man. That old man, like he's an old man, he's like in his 50s, but that old man was apparently the father of and I want to get the gang name right. I want to say uh Kinahan. Kinahan? Yeah. Um so it was reported in the sports tabloids in Ireland that a sports celebrity got into a fight at the bar and and ended up punching this man who is the father of a local Irish mafia member, basically. And apparently, people caught wind. Apparently, like there were people there who were taking pictures with Connor, and that's where like the connection came from. And apparently now there's a $900,000 bounty on his head.
It's a lot of greenbacks.
Not bounty so much as what's the word? What's the word when you have a hostage?
Ransom.
Ransom. There we go. There's a ransom on his head. Kinahan cartel. That's what they're called. Um, and just so you know, the Kinahan cartel is like a legit mafia that is currently in a war with another cartel where like at least 10 people have already been killed. Actually, I don't think we were doing the show at this time, but there was a shooting last year at a title fight in where was it? Uh, I can't remember where it was. It might have been in Dublin, but Kavanaugh was supposed to fight against Antonio Bento for the WBO European lightweight title. But the event was canceled when the Kinahan cartel apparently showed up and shot Gerald Kavanaugh,
Jesus.
who was a notorious gangster who was part of an enemy mob.
It's real out here in these streets.
Oh, wait. No. Gerald was one of the Kinahan mob's primary debt collectors and enforcers. His brother was also murdered by the mob.
Oh.
It's also worth noting that Connor was in attendance at Paul Kavanaugh's funeral. The slain brother. So, yeah. So this is more than whatever. Like this might actually be a legit thing. And my favorite reaction to all of this was Dana saying Jake LaMotta punched a wise guy back in the day, and they managed to work it out. So I think Connor will be able to work it out too. and just so I can tell the story again, it's also worth mentioning that Dana White got chased out of Boston when he was running a boxer size gym by what's his name, Whiteley?
The boxer size gym.
Whitley, something like that. Something weird. Yeah, Jenna used to be a boxer size coach.
Oh yeah. I do remember that. That was a thing.
So Dana,
yeah, I faintly remember hearing that story about him being ran out.
Oh, and besides, he's like best friends with the Fertitta, so Dana himself has no illusions about what being connected with like the crime boss family is really like. So, fun times.
This is the sport we live in 2017. We got
It's worth noting that Connor was in court earlier this week, and as he was for a traffic violation, I think he was speeding, um, and the tabloids were out there, paparazzi snapping photos, and asked him about the situation and about the threat on his life, and his response was, "Come and get me." So either one, he's playing this up, which isn't a smart thing to do, because I don't think the mob, especially the mob that's currently in a gang war, likes to be played with.
yeah.
And two, the other one being it's real, and holy shit, you're an idiot.
Connor, protect your neck. It's not a game out here.
You're gonna have to cut. You're gonna have to cut back on buying those expensive ass fur coats and start, paying money for some bodyguards.
Yeah.
And maybe
Fight
and maybe a vetting process for those bodyguards.
and maybe the next punch you throw. Hintity hint. Maybe it could be at somebody who weighs 155 pounds.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
So what you're saying is he should fight Nate Diaz.
Oh no, let's not do that again. Let's that's a whole nother podcast. Just let's not fight mobsters and old gentlemen. Yeah, man. Don't get caught up out there. Come back and fight a legal fight that will not eventually involve guns and funerals in the near future. But that's it's pretty much it for news going on in the MMA world. So guess we'll just get on to these fights that happened last night. UFC 218, Holloway versus Aldo 2 went down yesterday in Detroit. Yeah, I just start from the top. Max Holloway, Jose Aldo, main event. This fight. What do I start with this fight? I kind of had the same feeling about this fight as I did as the first one. Like, it was almost exactly the same. Like, the fight starts and Aldo's being really patient. I think in this fight compared to the first one, I think he was picking his shots a lot more. I would figure maybe he was trying not to wear himself out, because I feel like the first fight when he tagged him, like, he would go in for the kill. This fight he was being a lot more patient, but he did eat some jabs for his troubles, because he had like that cut under his eye by like the end of the first round. And it was weird though, because I don't even think they even did anything in his corner after that cut.
Oh no, they mentioned that Joe Rogan was like immediately on that. He's like, they put no.
Yeah, it was still there. Like,
Yeah.
It looked like nobody even touched it. But
They put like no end swell on there or anything. So
yeah, and so first round plays out, and I'm like, all right, you got this little cut under the eye, you got jabbed a few times, but there were things he did I liked. He was countering, he was picking his shots. I know, not wearing himself out. He was doing leg kicks, which I was really excited to see. Not as in a frequent volume as I'd hoped, but like they were there at least, because they were pretty non-existent the first time they fought. But just like the first fight, man, you knew at some point the tide was just gonna change. And actually, I can't even really say the tide changed, because it wasn't like the first fight where like Aldo like clearly took the first round of the first fight, because he was tagging him a bunch of times. Like, Holloway in this fight the entire time was pretty much in his face, jabbing him, throwing body shots. Aldo was returning fire, but you could just tell, man. At some point, Holloway was going to cut it on, and it was going to be over. And I think Holloway even yelled to Rogan after the first round, like, this man's tired. And, I mean, Aldo ended the first round on a strong note with that uppercut. And then, but you just see it, man. Second round comes, and pace starts to pick up a little more. And they would have these moments where they got into these little exchanges. And I started cringing, because I just I was like, Aldo, don't get cracked and just get flatlined out here. But you could just tell, man, like, when those little firefight moments started to happen, I was like, he's starting to get ready. Here, Super Saiyan 3 is coming. Like, it's only a matter of time. And then round 3 gets here, and Holloway just does what Holloway does. He kicks it into a gear that you can't keep up with, and as soon as the fight went to the ground, I dropped my head because I knew I knew it was over. Like I just knew it was over. He was tagging Aldo all up in that third round, man, and yeah, it went to the ground, and his face was all, I don't know. It really hurt to watch this. My feelings were really hurt, but yeah, man, Holloway just put it on him. I'm not even gonna give like a super technical breakdown. This fight was pretty much like the first fight, minus Aldo having that moment in the first round where he like tagged him really hard. Like,
So, how many strikes do you think Holloway threw in this fight that went 14, almost 15 minutes?
I feel like. I don't know. I feel like he didn't throw a lot.
Well,
But like with what he did throw,
so according to Fight Metric, who's definitely gone back and like redone their stats since yesterday, because when I went to go look at the stats for immediately after the fight, the number was like half of this, but Max Holloway threw 406 strikes.
really,
That's what Fight Metric is saying.
it didn't seem like that. I mean, he pawed a lot with the jab a lot, and like I said, they would have those little firefight moments. I know he tagged him to the body.
I'm sure
couple
it's
times.
inflated because of the ground and pound at the end.
Okay, yeah, I guess that would make sense.
But-
Because yeah, but even with that though,
Even he's averaging over 25 strikes a minute. To put that into context, although I think his average is like 11 to 12 a minute.
it's weird because it doesn't seem like he throws that much. But at the same time, it kind of makes sense because he was constantly in Aldo's face. So I guess in a way it does make sense. And he didn't let up on that pace. If anything, every round the pace just went up.
Yeah, like Holloway's like the best pace fighter in MMA right now. So this fight went a lot like how I thought the first fight was gonna go, and the first fight ended up being a little bit slower. Aldo ended up I don't want to say punched himself out of that fight, but like it seemed pretty clear he was never going to be able to keep up the pace he was setting in the first fight. Here, like you said, he was trying to be a little bit more slow. He was trying to take his time. He was trying to explode into everything. But Holloway was just forcing firefights to where like I want to say Patrick Wyman put it best. Aldo does what's best for the moment. Like moment to moment, you really can't beat Aldo. But over the course of the fight, it's not always the smart thing he does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, oh, this guy is going to give me his face to punch. And Aldo beat Holloway not in a lot. Like he beat him to the punch like quite a few times when he did throw first. When he initiated like the exchanges, he was actually landing pretty smoothly. And he landed those. He found like creative ways to land that leg kick because we're used to him throwing it to like after the hook. So you throw that right hand, left hook to the body, leg kick type scenario. But Holloway just kept forcing Aldo to exchange with him. He was baiting Aldo to throw, and by the third round, like Aldo just couldn't keep up anymore. And the thing is, like Aldo doesn't look faded at all. Like he looked great, technically, athletically, like mentally, he looked all there.
Yeah, like against anybody else, he would have still been in that fight.
Like he is legitimately still the number 2 featherweight in the division, and still like one of probably the best 15 fighters in the UFC, regardless of weight class. It's just that Max Holloway is in every shape and form a stylistic nightmare for him. He's 6 years younger. He's longer, and he still has a granite fucking chin, which
Yeah,
I don't think Aldo really has anymore. Like, it's still, don't get me wrong, he's not cracked or anything, but like
yeah,
it
I was gonna say that I noticed that it felt like Aldo feels the punches more than Holloway does.
uh,
Like,
do, how I don't think like after a certain point, it's just clear that Holloway didn't respect Aldo's punching power like at all. We saw it in the first fight too, where at the end of the second round, he's literally just has his hands up in the air and is just like, "Why are you not hitting me?"
right.
So, like, Holloway's gonna hold that featherweight belt for as long as he wants it.
Yeah, like I'm still interested to see how him and Frankie would go,
Well, Frankie
but
is like the last fight for him. If Ortega doesn't win next week, like who hasn't
yeah,
Holloway
yeah,
beat?
yeah. And the thing is, like, and I love Ortega. He's like one of my favorite like prospects, so to speak. But even if he beats Cub and gets a title shot, I don't know if I pick. I don't think I pick him to beat Holloway. Like Holloway's just on another, and it's weird because it's not like Holloway. He's not like a. I'm trying to think of how to word this. There's nothing he does that's like super like flashy or like I don't know. I don't know how to word it. Like it's not like when Aldo was in his prime. Like you knew like you got to watch out for these leg kicks. This dude's just gonna kick your leg off. Like there's no like signature anything or something like wild that he does. It's just like he's just extremely efficient and his pace is just a weapon. And
He is legitimately one of the best strikers in MMA right now. Like, he is. We haven't seen it against Aldo, but his shift punching and his ability to like switch stances is just like otherworldly. Like, remember that body shot he hit on Cub that just literally just broke him?
yeah,
That was off a shift where he was switching stances. Like, it's insane some of the stuff like Holloway's capable of doing. I honestly think like for Aldo, he was just like, I can beat Aldo in a boxing match, so let's just keep it there.
I mean, it worked.
Yeah.
Like it definitely worked. And yeah, like it just seemed like there was I don't say a power difference, but like we mentioned earlier, man, his Holloway's chin is just made of granite. Like Aldo hit him really clean, more than a few times, but he just seems to eat him like it's nothing. But if he tags Aldo, like Aldo really feels him, and
Well, like we know Holloway's chin's made of granite because like he's the only dude who's eaten every ounce of power Condor has, and like come away fine. Like,
right,
he never got rocked. He got beat up a little bit in that first round where McGregor's ACL wasn't torn, but like he wasn't getting flown halfway across the ring like Nate Diaz was when he was getting tagged.
right, yeah, man, Holloway's a scary dude. Um, yeah, if Frankie can't take that belt, um, and I'll be honest at this point, I don't. What earlier I would have picked Frankie. Now I'm not so sure. Like Holloway just seems to be like a different. That dude's just a different breed.
But like
He,
Edgar has like a reputation for being a pace fighter, which I don't think is really fair in terms of like output. He moves a lot, but in terms of output, like Holloway's just so far ahead of him. Like it's not even fun. Like you look at some of his stats where like Edgar goes like 5 rounds. Like he is not putting up the type of numbers Holloway's putting up in like 3. Because again, according to Fight Metric, he threw 400 strikes in 15 minutes.
and I would wonder what the breakdown is like, cause it seems like his output goes up every round. Like from 2 to 3, his output jumped like incrementally.
Yeah. I'm gonna look back at the Cub fight, which was mostly on the feet. Don't crap out on me fight. He threw that fight went about 14 minutes. He threw 200 strikes.
Jeez.
That's insane.
And it's not only does he throw that many, like he's a very efficient striker too.
Oh
Like
yeah, no, he's not. He's
He's
not.
not just winging punches.
He's not as like the explosive puncher that Aldo is, but that's still like an insane amount of output.
Man, yeah. Good luck to anybody at 45 who plans on taking that belt. You got a tall task ahead of you. And I was thinking the inevitable thought after this fight.
I know you're about to say, and they're already tweeting at one another.
Oh no, I was gonna say. Well,
Okay.
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I feel like for Aldo, like
Aldo, yeah.
yeah, I don't like kicking people out the door because I feel like he still has a lot more in the tank, and I think he could still put on a lot of fun fights. So I don't know if he wants to just stay around for that, but I feel like he doesn't strike me as a guy who really wants to do like fun fights. Like he strikes me as somebody like I want to fight for the purpose of getting a belt and being a champ.
Yeah.
But it just seems like at 145 that's as long as Holloway has that strap, I don't think that's gonna happen. And I mean, if you want to avoid the weight cut and go up to 155, it's not like fights get any easier up there.
Well, that's something we forgot to mention. Like, both of these guys look terrible on the scales.
Man, although I saw that picture on Twitter, this dude was leaned over on the scale like he was near death. Like,
yeah. Like, for Aldo, maybe the fights don't get easier, but like the weight cuts do.
yeah, that is true.
As long as he
So-
doesn't fight like Tony Ferguson, I don't know how many guys are going to be able to put the type of pressure on Aldo that
That Holloway does.
Holloway does, and yeah, I'd love to see the Pettis fight. Like that's the one fight I'd really like to see. If he has to fight again, and that'll tell me where he's at like physically when he comes to like lightweight.
Right.
But like
Yeah.
I don't want to see Aldo at featherweight anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and at this point, even though you've dropped two in a row, I think it's still solidified. You're pretty much still the GOAT featherweight. Like, I don't think you have anything else to really prove in that division. Like, you were king for God knows how long. So, yeah, man. I mean, yeah, if you want to go up to 55, there are definitely fun fights up there for you. And yeah, I don't want to see him retire because I'm a fan, but if he does, I wouldn't be mad. I don't think he has anything left to prove, but yeah, if you go up to 55, I guess we can finally get the Pettis fight that should have happened like 8 times already, but
Remember when they were scheduled to fight each other?
like, I still remember like the pictures and stuff that they took. I was so hyped for that fight, and it just never happened. But I guess now it's better than ever though, because Aldo's coming off 2 losses. Pettis is coming off the loss to Poirier.
Yeah.
Both of them are kind of at like this weird crossroad in their career, so to speak. So yeah, now better than ever. Why not make the fight? I'm definitely for it. And as for Holloway, I almost hope. I love Cub, but for the sake of a new face that Holloway hasn't beaten, I'm kind of pulling for Ortega to pull out this W. But then we also have rumblings of, Holloway versus Conor. But I'm gonna just dead that already because Conor's not fighting. So
Conor's never. I'm pretty sure Conor's never gonna fight again.
yeah, so you guys can get excited for that fight, but it's not gonna happen. It's not a thing.
He's gonna be the longest reigning UFC lightweight champion ever, but he will never fight again.
Right. And it sucks because like, and not to diminish Conor's win, but like he beat Max when Max was still kind of green a little bit.
Max was 21 years old.
Yeah, like he wasn't the Max that we know now, and I'm not saying like Holloway's a guaranteed, win if they rematch, but that fight definitely goes different. Like I think he can definitely put Conor in some bad spots.
I'd pick Holloway To be honest,
Yeah, with that chin, like
that chin, that pace, and just
yeah,
down the stretch, it's all him.
yeah. And thing is, he's gotten so much better since then. Like leaps and bounds. And he was already a beast at 21, and now he's like putting it all together. But yeah, that fight will probably never happen. So it's fun to dream.
You know when that fight will happen? It'll happen if Holloway becomes a pay-per-view draw. And I hope to God he does, because like if anybody deserves to be, he does. And the winner of the co-main event does.
Oh yeah, yeah. So shout outs to Holloway, great win, Hawaii stand up. You guys got a champ who's just out here beasting on people and probably won't be
What a weekend for the indigenous people of combat sports.
killing it.
Yeah.
Killing it. We'll get to another Hawaiian later, but yeah, on to future stars and people who hopefully become draws. Francis Ngannou, Alistair Overeem, co-main event. So, just context for this fight. So I missed a lot of this card last night. I didn't get to watch most of it in real time. The only fights I saw in real time were from Sergio on. I saw the rest of the card in real time. When this fight came on, I actually watched the card muted. I spent just the entire time just waiting for that inevitable moment that I knew was gonna come, and I felt it in my soul after Overeem comes out. He throws his wild left hand. He goes in for the clinch. As soon as the clinch situation didn't work out, I knew it was over.
Yeah.
Because that was the one moment where I was like, well, because Overeem definitely has like underrated grappling that he uses sometimes, but we don't see it often. And that was the one area where I was like, well, if he can get Ngannou down, we haven't really seen Ngannou off his back all that often. And yeah, clinch situation didn't work out. He couldn't get a takedown, couldn't get any knees off.
Yo, when was the last time you saw Overeem big brother like that?
Right, like like Ngannou shrugged him off like he was like a child, and Overeem's a big dude, and he just like it was like, no, we're not doing this. Like
and then then there was a moment where Overeem tried to get out, like tried to turn him, like Ngannou just calm as fuck just turns him back into the cage, like it was nothing.
Yeah, man, this Ngannou is just like
dwarfed Reem too. Like I don't know why it didn't occur to me like beforehand, but like he was significantly bigger than Reem.
Yeah. That's a scary dude, man. And
we still haven't gotten to the part where he deleted Reem from this earth.
You know why I was worried for Reem, and it was fitting that he got KO'd the way he did, because he was doing this weird thing. Well, he only did it once, and then he got what we'll get to it. But I get it. He was trying to duck. I think he was envisioning incoming bombs. And it was something about just the way he tried to duck the punch. I don't know if he was just like hanging out down there too long, like he was just afraid. But like, so he goes to duck, comes back up, and he gets met with Sagat uppercut that like
shovel punch from hell.
It was like a video game knockout. It's like when you do the final finishing move. Like it was like he charged up everything in that one punch and just unloaded, and just the way his head snapped back.
Like that was straight out of like a comic book.
Right. It was really like reused Shoryuken. Like
I thought Overeem's neck was broken.
It was and like I knew I had a feeling Overeem was gonna get flatlined, but it looked way worse than I even envisioned, because like not only did he get uppercutted and like his head just almost snapped off, he hits the ground, he eats one extra ground and pound shot that didn't even need to happen, but he is stiff as a board when he hit that.
Dude, like if you go back and watch it, his toes are curled up.
Yeah.
from Impact.
That Jesus Christ. And props to Overeem. He posted on Twitter like this morning about, he gave Ngannou props for the knockout and now he's got to go back to the drawing board. Bro, I'm glad you're just alive. Like, I'm glad you're still on this planet with us after that uppercut because that.
So, real talk. How has Ngannou not murdered somebody? Because, like, he was fighting, like, just straight up, like, scrubs in France. Or, not in France, but, like, wherever they could get him a fight before the UFC. Like, because that punch would have killed a lot of people. Like, me and you included.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, I would have died off a grazing of that punch. Like it wouldn't even have had to hit me fully.
Like that punch literally would have knocked out any human being who has ever walked the face of the earth.
So, Jesus Christ, like, yeah. If there's anything you watch off of this card,
like this made it to like #1 on like the all page on Reddit. It was so savage, like.
Did you see the Photoshop of him in the One Punch Man? And you know what made it even better, man? I know Ngannou's like English isn't the best, but he gave a nice little post-fight, interview, and this guy is he's scary, man. This guy is a frightening.
It sucks. I mean, it doesn't suck. It's obviously like the best thing ever. But he seems like the nicest guy.
Right, like he's like the gentle giant.
Like he's like I wanted to be a boxer like Mike Tyson, but like nobody believed me. I'm like, wait, you're like what the fuck are you 6'4", 250 pounds?
Right. Why are people not believing you?
And he's like, I left France. I was homeless in France, and then there was like these nice people that helped me find a job, and then I found a gym, and blah blah blah. Like you go through his story, like he's just like the greatest. It's like the greatest. He's just great. He seems like such a cool dude. And then he punches somebody. Like, that was legitimately like the scariest punch I've ever seen landed on a person.
And it seems even scarier now after seeing that sports science that they did on him.
They made up a freaking unit of, I don't even know what they were measuring, like pressure. I don't know what they were measuring. They made up some unit of measurement to measure the punch. Is it Ngannou? Ngannou? Gano.
I say Ngannou. I don't know what it is.
I'm gonna say Ngannou, just so we have our bases covered. They made up a unit of measurement for a punching machine just so they could measure how hard Ngannou punches.
Man.
And then he uses his post-fight speech to bring attention to the slave trade that's going on in Libya. Like, how do you not love this man?
That's what I'm saying. Like, this guy's a national treasure. Like,
international treasure.
Yeah.
Best fighter Africa's produced since like Azuma Nelson.
Man. So, and according to Dana, this will be the one thing from Dana, I believe, only because it's the heavyweight division, and you have to make this fight.
I legitimately think Dana's afraid of him, because I think that was his reasoning for giving Stipe the title fight against Verdum.
Oh man, but yeah, Ngannou, Stipe, that's allegedly that's going down. I don't think it has a date, but like that's definitely supposed to be the next fight. I'll say this. Stipe, protect your neck, your chin, your whole upper body area. But on the same token, if Stipe beats Ngannou, dude, Stipe is like he's in untouchable territory.
Well, like to me, he's kind of already there already.
Yeah, he's there already, but
yeah, no, this is like the scariest thing that Stipe could face.
Yeah. If Stipe gets out of this and wins, or like even crazy, like if he managed to like knock Ngannou out, there's no question Stipe's like the heavyweight GOAT. Like he might even already be there, but this would just solidify it.
He's at least the best UFC heavyweight champion there's ever been.
Right.
But
Like without question.
But real quick for Alistair Overeem, like I really like Overeem's attitude towards fighting. Like this is, I don't want to say it's like a game to him, but like he seems to really enjoy the process. Like there's a dude who has switched up his style so much after he was already like a 30-40 fight vet.
Right. Because like this Overeem versus like the Reem we saw in Strikeforce, completely
Night
different.
Day, yeah.
Yeah.
And what got him here is probably not sticking to his new formula where there was no like I know he was ducking down and everything, but like they had to know going to this fight, like the only way they were going to win this fight is either they get the takedown. That didn't work. So the only way he was going to win the fight was if he pot shotted him. If he tried to draw the counter of Ngannou and countered off of that and only stuck with one shot, so he didn't get in a firefight.
I was surprised he didn't do any leg kicks or anything.
I think he just didn't want to give him the opportunity to hit him because like Ngannou's like reach is like what, he's an 83, 84 inch reach.
Ooh.
Yeah, like his whole game plan should have been hard feints and pop shots. Like do what you have to do to get away.
Right. Live. just live and have slightly more output than Ngannou, and then just live.
Like
But
the pumping clutch, you throw the overhand right, grab him, push him away, and like escape that way, like because there was no way Ngannou was going to like do anything in the clinch. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And we saw like we talked about how he big brothered Overeem, but he really didn't do anything with it. Well, he landed a foot stomp.
I don't know. Ngannou foot stomp probably hurts pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, dude,
But
like how many? I'm curious how many Ngannous are there in like West Africa? Just like 6'4", 6'5" big men who are
just need a chance.
who just need something to do because they're too big to play soccer or to run track. So they literally just do construction like Ngannou did.
Man, somebody better do some scouting.
I do. If I'm ATT, if I'm the head coach from ATT, I'm on a plane there tomorrow. Just be like, hey, you want to be a professional fighter?
Just running up to any random guy.
Any random 6'4" behemoth of a man, just be like, hey, you want to make money like Francis does?
Here's your gloves. Here, take these. We're just gonna teach you how to fight.
We're gonna
your
see how
family in a
hard
couple
you
months.
punch.
All right. Tell your family will be back in about 3-4 months. Oh man, but yeah, this dude is he's something else. This guy is something else.
Like I legitimately think Ngannou could have been like a world champion boxer if he was at like if he had started training when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Like if he had had like a proper infrastructure. Like I don't know how. I don't think Cameroon's amateur / system is as good as some of the other African countries. Like they're no South Africa. So opportunity missed on being the next Mike Tyson.
But he's about to own the MMA world. I don't know, man. I don't know about Stipe. I don't know, bro. I don't know.
But this is the first time I feel like I'm getting like two prime and ready like heavyweights.
Right.
Like, because even with Verdum, Overeem, and like Junior Dos Santos, like there was something in that fight where it just felt like the path to victory was a little bit more clear because these guys are kind of old and shop worn. Like I don't think Ngannou's been hit once since he's been in the UFC. And,
Or if
and
he
that's
has nothing.
that's another thing though. Like for like this, he beat the number 2 guy in the division. He's still pretty much untested because nobody can test him.
We'll see. Stipe, you got to break the cycle without dying. Many have come before you. Many have gotten their heads knocked off. Some have even flown. So,
Or Arlovsky.
but yeah, man, Francis Ngannou, this guy. If you don't know him by now, you need to get familiar. Because whoever your favorite heavyweight is, if it's not him, he's probably gonna knock them out if he hasn't already. So yeah, man, big shout outs to him. Shout outs to Overeem. I'm glad you're still with us on Earth. Um,
Real quick, speaking of UFC championships, Tim Sylvia is about to make the walk in a grappling tournament against Fabiano Scherner.
oh Lord.
So be on the lookout for that, y'all.
I hope that's like not a main event of whatever event that is.
Oh, it better be.
Oh man, moving on down. Next fight, Henry Cejudo, Sergio Pettis. Fight wasn't. What's the word I'm looking for?
Amazing.
Yeah, it's not as amazing and eye-opening as I'd hoped it would have been, but nevertheless, it in a way at the same time it kind of went the way I thought it would. That Cejudo's grappling, if he chose to use it, which he definitely did in this fight, would just kind of be too much for Sergio. Yeah, I mean, they did trade on the feet a little bit, but as soon as it went to the grappling, like you just clearly saw who was the better grappler, and he just kind of took Sergio down and kind of beat him up a little bit for 3 rounds. Not anything really flashy. Not at all like the Hayes fight where he just almost killed a man, but it was a one-sided performance. Not the most exciting thing to watch. Well, I can't say it was like boring because it's not like he wasn't doing anything. I don't know. I feel like after the Hayes fight, I was looking just for a little more. I don't know. I guess I just wanted to see a finish. But either way, pretty dominant fight. I think he establishes himself as a. Well, I guess you establish him as next in line. Pretty much. I don't know anybody else at this point you would put above him. But well, I don't know how the DJ Garbrandt thing if that's still happening, if he even gets title shot or how that's gonna turn out. But assuming DJ doesn't go up or if the Dillashaw fight doesn't happen, pretty sure he just locked himself in for the rematch.
Yeah, like you said, like it was a good win for Cejudo, but it was a step in like a. No one's going like after the Hayes fight, people wanted to see Cejudo DJ too. After this fight, I don't think anybody is anywhere near as excited because this was the same Cejudo that beat Chris Carriazo and Chico Camus. He just did it like a little bit cleaner.
All right.
And like there's no building like off of what he's done in the past. Like he got the takedown. Like he landed some ground and pound in the first round, but it kind of like just tapered off, and he was just like working for that ride position he really likes. That wrestlers really like, where like he's just not quite. He doesn't have the hooks in on the back, and he's just sitting there like with the one arm locked up. And don't get me wrong, that's amazing. Like like what he was doing was like next level stuff. But this isn't. Oh, we have a healthy alternative to DJ, so we can go ahead and make that fight if this Garbrandt fight doesn't come through. This was, this is another guy for DJ to fight after he gets done with Garbrandt.
Yeah.
Also, shouts out to Danny Brown, Detroit rapper Danny Brown, who apparently was playing peacekeeper during the fight because a fight broke out in the audience. It got so much attention that Joe Rogan or whoever was on commentary mentioned it. No, it was Rogan. Yeah, mentioned it. It was a I can't remember. It was Brett Akamoto who was ringside who mentioned there was a man in a fur suit who who was apparently playing peacekeeper, and yeah, no, there were people in attendance saying it was Danny Brown.
Shout out to Danny Brown in the fursuit. I like Danny. I've actually never listened to a Danny Brown album, believe it or not.
You never listened to Triple X
Nah,
or old?
like I never listened to that. Didn't listen to Atrocity Exhibition. Like I hear him on features, but like it's just his voice. I don't know if I can listen to that for a full album.
Fair. Like
I feel like he's screaming at me, and I don't appreciate it.
he was on some song with Elzai forever ago that I heard, and I'm like, is his voice a joke? But no, apparently that's just how he raps.
Yeah, that's just how he sounds. But he's a good rapper though. Like, but it's just that voice. It's too much for me to handle. But I'm glad he's out there breaking up fights.
Wouldn't
One thing I want to mention about Sergio real quick. I feel like we've said this about him before. Like, by the third round, I'm pretty sure he knew he was down 2-0. And yeah, man, there just wasn't any. I mean, I get it. You don't want to just go out there flailing any old thing and get knocked out or get counted and But it didn't seem like there was any urgency. Like he went out like it was the first round.
Yeah.
And he was just kind of just going through the motions, and there was just no. Like he didn't go for it. Like, and it sucks because like I've seen him, like he's getting better. I feel like in the last few fights he's gotten a lot better, but there's still just like something missing in his game. And
he's literally like the exact opposite of his brother. Like Anthony is like all urgency, like no process, like no shit's given. He's just down for whatever. And like Sergio like just seems like reluctant to let go. Like he does not want to enforce his will on anybody.
Yeah.
Like he's just,
and it's not like he has bad hands or.
Dude, he like we've said it before. I think he's technically more sound than his brother. Like he throws punches and kicks like with a lot more thought into what he does, but what he wants to do isn't conducive to beating elite level fighters. Like he just wants to coast.
I wonder if he just, I don't know, and this is just hearsay, just me going off on a tangent. I wonder if he just like gets in his own head that like, I don't know, he maybe he just overthinks it and or he's just so comfortable with what he's doing that he doesn't pull the trigger. Like he's just, I don't know, it's weird. It's weird. But I mean, dude's only like 24.
Yeah.
But I feel like at the same time
he's also been fighting for like 6-7 years.
Yeah, so I feel like around this time, like there's got to be there's an extra step I feel like he's got to take because I mean, Cejudo's definitely dangerous on the feet. Probably I would say Cejudo's a lot more explosive with his strikes. It seems like he throws with pretty bad intention like every time he throws.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like Pettis just wasn't trying to match him. Like he was just kind of just hanging out. I don't know. It's really just weird to watch because he's really talented, but it's just not all there for some reason.
The dude just literally fights at one speed.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And it's like if that speed works for him, he can stick with it. But like when things go wrong, there's no backup plan. There's no. He's just consistent to stick with what he's doing and hope that it works. But when it doesn't work and you have to switch it up, like he just doesn't switch it up. And
it's really weird because like Pettis' losses have come from him like he's winning, and then he lost a fight.
Right.
So,
or maybe he was just tired from being grappled to death. I don't know.
that's another thing. Like, dude, like, I don't know if it's Duke Rufus is like coach because I don't think it's Anthony Pettis. Not Anthony Pettis. I don't think it's Ben Askren anymore, who does wrestling over there at Rufus Sport. But like, this dude needs to be on like a grappling mat and a wrestling mat with somebody who's going to teach him how to scramble up. Because they are way too happy to just sit and guard and just try to play the jiu-jitsu game. Like, that doesn't work unless you're like Charles Oliveira. And even then, it only works like some of the time.
Right. But, I guess, solid win for Cejudo. I guess he gets himself in line for a title shot, but we're not really sure how it all pans out. DJ might be fighting Dillashaw for all we know, but yeah, I don't really have much else honestly to say about that fight. But this next one, man, Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje, All Violence Championship.
Before it's a fight, I want to bring up like this little thing I saw in the video package they had before it. Like I love that how like they started off with Justin Gaethje, like they talked about like so Justin Gaethje delivered like my favorite line in the history of maybe ever, where he's like, "Yeah, I'm totally okay taking everything from Eddie Alvarez's kids, his family." I'm just like, there's my champion.
Yeah, man. Some people they're cut from a different cloth than the rest of us.
Dude, did you see his tweet about this fight? Like where he congratulated Eddie, and it was like the most bizarrely poignant thing I've ever like.
I saw Eddie's congratulating him. No, I didn't see his though.
Justin said, "Congrats, Eddie Alvarez. Thank you for the dance. That was fun. Win or lose, this hurts." Justin Gaethje is legit just here for the violence.
Right. Like there's no there's no other point. Just fight. Like
yeah. I also like how they tried to connect the two in the video because they go from Gaethje doing his backflip after knocking out Michael Johnson to Eddie Alvarez doing his backflip after he knocked out somebody in like Elite XC. Like they just intercut that really, like it was really nice. So they wanted to shut that out before we talked about them murdering each other.
I'm so glad this fight turned out like the way it did because there was so much hype around this fight, and I was like, I'm glad this wasn't a fight that ended in like 2 seconds where somebody just got flatlined real quick. Like I feel like we got the violence we were looking for. The only thing I was kind of surprised about is that, like, I mean, they were definitely damaging each other, but, like, nobody got, well, all right, he got dropped at the end, which we'll get to, but nobody was, like, repeatedly getting floored over and over again.
Oh, yeah, like, I kind of expected this to be, like, the Gaethje-Johnson fight or the Poirier-Alvarez fight, like.
Where everybody, they're just falling over the cage and trying to just live while throwing bombs, but,
no, this was some sophisticated violence, bro.
It was. And to be honest, I think, to me, what made the difference, like, as much as Alvarez is, like, the toughest dude on earth, he's a brawler, but he definitely has good technique. Like, he's not just throwing crazy. I mean, he does get in firefights. I can't say he doesn't do that, but I think he was more technical out of the two, and I think that helped him a lot in this fight. Though Gaethje gets a lot of credit for these leg kicks that were just murdering Alvarez's leg the entire fight. And for people who, if you haven't watched like any Gaethje's fights pre-UFC, like that is a nasty weapon of his that he uses. The dude has some really brutal leg kicks.
He stopped like a couple people with them.
Yeah, like, and it's kind of weird because it's not like the Aldo kick where it has like this super quick snap or anything, but like he could just lands them repeatedly over and over and over, and they just.
It's like he's swinging a baseball bat, basically.
Right. But yeah, I love the leg kicks that he was doing. I loved how Eddie was mixing in body shots, man. Those body shots were beautiful.
That's what won him the fight.
Yeah. Because I mean, they were going to be tied regardless in the third round just because of how they fight, but those accumulations of body shots mixed in with like the uppercuts he was landing in the clinch, like, but those body shots definitely just probably took a lot of air out of Gaethje. And this fight was what you thought it was. It was violent. It was good technical violence of these two just slugging it out. But I just think Alvarez was a bit more technical.
He's just so great in the pocket.
Yeah.
Like, he was, for as much as he got hit, when Gaethje was throwing those uppercuts and those hooks, like the things he was beating Michael Johnson's life out of him with, like, just a fantastic head movement. Like, literally just like a small dip backwards and he's out of range of the uppercut. It's glorious.
And that last knee, like, it was like Gaethje's health bar was at 1, and then he gets hit with the knee, man. It's like he just has nothing left. Like, there's nothing left in the tank.
And he was complaining when he became like conscious that he stopped the fight while he was still breathing, I guess.
Right. But he was definitely out of it, man. Like, these dudes, they went in there and they just emptied out the tank. Yeah, probably one of the best fights of the year. I don't know if I would put this above the Gaethje Michael Johnson fight, but it was still great. Nonetheless, this was the fight you wanted to see.
So, by the end of the year, Gaethje and Alvarez will have like 2 each of the best fights, like for fight of the year candidates, and one of them will likely be like the winner. Probably Johnson, Gaethje, but that's insane.
And just to put this in perspective, man, I'm waiting for this to load up. So, Eddie Alvarez, man, let's look at the bodies this man has on his record. Justin Gaethje, Rafael Dos Anjos, Anthony Pettis, Gilbert Melendez, Michael Chandler, Patricky, Aoki, Pat Curran, I don't know if we count Roger Welter for whatever that's worth, Kawajiri. The point being, like, this dude has some bodies on his record. Like,
he's one of the greatest lightweights ever.
One of the greatest lightweights of all time. Like, this dude has beat top level competition just like forever. And the way he fights, like, it's crazy that he's just even still around. Like, his chin hasn't failed him yet, and he just, because like this fight isn't, if you've been watching Eddie fight for a while, like, these fights aren't anything new. Like, this is what he does.
But he's better than what he's done. Like, this is
right.
This is legit like his best performance ever.
And it's just like, I just don't get how, like, a guy who gets in this many wars is still around, like, and still beating top level competition. And yeah, man, like, he earned the nickname the Underground King. Like, he really is that dude, man. Like,
imagine if this fight was on Fox. Like, because this should, like, I was gonna say, because there's only like a minute left in the round, that this should have been 5 rounds, because those leg kicks were really starting to get to Alvarez. I wanted to see how he dealt with them.
Yeah.
But then that knee literally came out of nowhere.
It did.
Like, they would both had each other wrapped up top, like head and shoulder, and then like all of a sudden Alvarez is throwing a knee, which was like the slowest knee ever, by the way.
Yeah, because when I heard he got KO'd by a knee, because I didn't see this fight in real time, I was like, oh, it was like a flying knee or just like some really hard clinch knee? No, like, they were just holding each other, both
exhausted,
near death.
Yeah, exhausted.
Like, they did a dance like all the way. They were holding each other like all the way around the octagon, and just happened to like get back to the center. Yeah, and Alvarez just kind of throws his knee up there, and it just lands, and then like a second later, Gaethje just falls out, like health bar depleted. um, yeah, man, this fight was awesome. I can't wait to, and I'm hoping the Alvarez and Poirier fight. I hope that gets run back. Um, I don't care who Gaethje's fight next, just get him back in there. Like,
Hopefully, it's like 7 months from now.
yeah, he probably needs that break. And
Gaethje's,
note on
Gaethje's
Gaethje,
like a 2 fight-a-year dude at most. Unless he literally slaughters some like the other dudes, like because he's just going to always be in wars.
and this was Gaethje's first loss. Took 18 fights for him to finally take a L.
That's insane because it doesn't matter. Like I will always give Gaethje props for being more technical than people say he is. But at some point, like a dude with this style of fighting loses.
Right. And he's mad at, and he's come close. Like he even like if anybody saw his fights with Palomino, like those were fights where he could have lost, where he was getting tagged in those fights, but he's just Gaethje. The dude's just like a superhero. Like I don't know, man. This guy's just he's different. They're human beings, and then they're Justin Gaethje, and we're just not like him.
I straight up think Justin Gaethje will be either the first man to die in the octagon or the first man to kill another man in the octagon.
Yeah, man, this dude,
He
really
seems like the dude who you're going to have to literally drag away from fighting, like clawing and pleading.
right. Like you can't do this anymore. Like your brain physically just can't do this anymore.
Like he says he's okay dying in the octagon, and like you believe him.
Yeah. I definitely do. Like he's one of those people. He was born to fight. Like he was put on this earth to just be violent and make money off of it. And
Like there's no way Justin Gaethje could have ever had like a freaking like a desk job.
right.
Like fighting needs to exist so people like Justin Gaethje can express themselves.
Right. In a legal fashion, you know. But props to both these dudes, man. Alvarez, Gaethje, a lot of hype. The fight lived up to everything we wanted it to be. We got a finish. But there's nothing else you could ask for. Like, there's nothing else you could ask for. So yeah, can't wait to see both of those dudes fight again. So was that it for the main card?
One more. Tisha Torres and Michelle Waterson.
Oh yeah, that was the main card.
Tisha Torres takes a unanimous decision over Michelle Waterson. So this is like the best Tisha Torres has looked, and also the worst Tisha Torres has looked in the UFC, because even her boring performances, she tends to be dominant. But that second round, when Waterson got her down.
Oh yeah, with that the little hip toss.
Yeah. And like Waterson's one of the few fighters who I think actually does it right, where she like runs her body back in as they're getting tossed, so that she ends up on top and doesn't get her back taken.
Yeah.
But Torres pretty obviously doesn't train off her back very much. Waterson was able to hold her down for like a good 4 minutes. And in that span, we saw Torres go for she made some bad decisions, just straight up bad, like the arm bar, the wrong side arm bar that I've seen in like shitty YouTube BJJ self-defense videos, where she's like turning the wrong way on an arm bar. Like I don't understand what she was doing. Like, do you remember that?
I watched this fight, and for some reason, it's not sticking. Like, I feel like my takeaway from this fight was just like Torres putting a lot of pressure on her. or at least in the first and the third. And I don't know, it seemed like she was just a lot stronger than Waterson was. Well, minus the second round when Waterson like pretty handily dominated that round.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's because they were the same height, and Torres is like 5'0", so everybody she fights at strawweight is bigger than her. But Torres was literally just sitting down on punches and beating the shit out of Waterson on the feet. Like there were several times I thought she was literally going to like just knock her out.
And that's the thing, like Waterson has like flashy strikes, but like I feel like she doesn't have like great hands really, and she tends to be, I don't know, like she sits in that side stance, and she's kind of just waiting for the right moment to just kind of like throw something.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, I've been critical of Waterson's potential at like strawweight because of her, like her striking's more flash than it is. I want to say it's more okay. Maybe not more flash than substance, but there's a lot of flash to make up for the lack of substance. Like she's really not good from like punching range. And we saw it here where like Torres crowds her so she can't get the kick off and just unleashes like a 3-punch combination that she has no answer to.
Yeah. Yeah, she's another person kind of like Sergio where it's like I feel like she's really, really talented, but it doesn't always like come together. Like it just seems like there's something missing.
And the craziest part about that is she could arguably be undefeated and have a win over the current champion. Like I hope this is a sign that her new training camp, she moved out to Colorado to be with her fiance Raquel Pennington. Also probably in part because the what's her name? Joanna Jędrzejczyk, wild champion, moved to ATT. That probably had a little bit to do with it.
Yeah.
But I like what they're getting her to do over there in Colorado. I don't know where she trains. She definitely doesn't train with Elevation because I think that's where what's her face trains. Rose Triple Threat Gym in Colorado Springs. Hopefully they get her to sit down her punches more. It's a boxing gym, so they're the ones who trained Raquel Pennington to be such a great boxer. So I'm looking forward to Tisha Torres getting better.
Does she have a win streak going? I feel like she has a win streak going.
3 in a row.
All right, she's making her way. But yeah, her only loss is to Rose.
Yep, that fight she arguably won. Like I thought she lost, but she also managed to knock Rose down in that fight.
I'm glad she's doing well though, because I was a big fan of hers in Invicta. I'm glad she's still sticking around. And I mean,
It seems like once she got to the UFC, she's tried to be like Jessica Aguilar, like where she would just like crowd people. I mean, I don't think that style works for her. Oh, she trains at Altitude MMA. That makes so much more sense.
I'll see. I mean, well, she's ranked number 5, so I mean, I feel like arguably another win, she might find herself in like a title contender fight.
I mean, I think the next, since it seems like all signs are pointing towards Joanna Jędrzejczyk getting her rematch, and I assuming the winner of Carolina Kowalkiewicz and Jessica Andrade, which we forgot to announce.
Yeah.
That's a fight, and it's happening in I think Orlando. I could be wrong. But I think the winner of that fight deserves a title shot. Next,
Do Torres Calvillo?
Torres, if Calvillo beats Esparza, yeah, why not?
Oh yeah, I forgot that's happening.
Yeah, it's the Fox card, Fox 28 in Orlando. So
We'll see, but yeah, solid performance from Torres. Oh Lord, I just lost the card. Okay, here we go. Oh man, this next fight. So yeah, I only got a chance to watch this fight once. This fight was Paul Felder and Charles Oliveira. Um, there were just so many points during this fight where I felt like Paul Felder's cornerman must have been just, I don't know, because he was playing with fire, man, in this fight. At one point, he was in a Darce choke that I was pretty sure he wasn't going to get out of, but not only did he get out of it, he was content to just play in Oliveira's guard, which we've seen for a lot of people doesn't always work out so well. But like he was content to hang in this man's guard. Like he was fearless, and I thought it was gonna cost him, but uh, elbows saved the day. That elbow he landed, not the ones that like finished the fight, but the one that like dropped Oliveira to even just get him to the ground. Like I don't know, man. This dude, I enjoy watching Felder fight, and I didn't think he was gonna pull this one out because it just seemed like Oliveira just had so many tools on the ground that could have worked in his favor, and Felder were just finding ways to get out, and yeah, elbows of doom, they work. Elbowed him to get him on the ground, elbow ground and pound, bloodied Dubronx's face up. Great win for Felder. Like you played with fire and you won.
This was
Somehow.
like Belcher versus Paul Harris.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like Charles Oliveira really is just like Paul Harris. Like if he can't get the submission and you're able to make him pay for not being able to get the submission, like he breaks. Like I think I forgot heading into this fight, just like he's kind of fragile. Like for no other, if only because I can't think of another word to describe him. Like the Cub Swanson knockout. What was that fight? The Holloway fight where like he gets. I don't remember. I don't remember what injury he claimed to have had, but apparently it was nowhere near as bad as he claimed it was. Like there's a dude who kind of crumbles when he meets resistance, despite the fact that he's literally one of the best submission artists MMA's ever had.
All right.
And Felder did a great job of just like staying calm, creating enough space so he could keep breathing and not go out. And then when Oliveira eventually um, did start like letting up, finding a way to get on top, and immediately deliver ground and pound so that Oliveira understood that like this was not a safe place for him. Um, I will say there was a takedown attempt where Oliveira laced his legs through Felder's and then wrapped his body around like one of his legs to go for like a takedown, which I thought was really neat.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Um,
I feel like it's a perk when you're as lanky as Oliveira is.
yeah. Also, Felder. Like, I thought the fight was over when Felder started trying to lock up Oliveira's legs while he was in the Darce. Because I'm like, dude, you're just making it tighter.
Right. Even Rogan mentioned that in the commentary. It's like that's the worst thing you could have done. Like
It seems like he noticed right away, though. I'll give him that. Like he was like, "Oh crap, I'm doing this wrong."
it's still crazy that he even got out of that Darth.
Yeah,
Like,
no, like
yeah, I don't know how he got out of it.
being,
His nickname the Irish Dragon.
yep, something like that.
He's earned it.
Yeah, like Felder kind of got thrown into the fire like a little early. Like he had to fight Barboza. Who's the other dude he had to fight? Not McDessie. Was it McDessie?
No, he fought Pearson.
Pearson, that's who it was. Barboza, Pearson, like Trinaldo, like those are all tough ass fights, especially for somebody who like previously had like only a handful of UFC experience. Like there's a dude who knocked out a declining Danny Castillo, and then was thrown to Edson Barboza. Like, slow your roll a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I think they wanted to. I felt like they wanted to push him, and
Like at that point, he had only been fighting for like 3 years.
yeah, they tried to throw him up there, but he's still a good talent though.
Yeah,
But
he's a great like he's
yeah,
evolving into like a great talent. Like, this is 6 year fighting. Like everything seems to be coming together. He's on a nice little run. Uh, 3 stoppage wins. He knocked out Stevie Ray. Like
yeah.
Stevie Ray's a good win.
And he's fan friendly too. Like if you watch a Paul Felder fight, more than likely you're gonna be entertained.
Oh yeah, and he's also really good on commentary.
Yeah, so
Paul Felder, well
yeah,
rounded.
shout outs to the Irish Dragon. Um, it's still weird that Oliveira muscled Will Brooks. Like, I need to rewatch that fight. I still don't understand that
Well,
fight.
Oliveira muscled Felder for like the first 4 minutes of this fight. Like maybe if
He must be just a lot stronger than he looks, because he's just a real scrawny kind of lanky kind of dude. He must be like deceptively strong.
yeah,
Because Will Brooks is a thick, like,
he's got that lanky power, you know.
yeah, it must. Because yeah. But I like Du Bronx though. I like Du Bronx.
I do too. I wish he was a little sturdier.
Yeah, pretty sure he'll be back. He'll probably have some more cool submission wins coming coming soon, and Felder will probably be back elbowing people. Um, oh, this next fight, Yancy Medeiros, Alex Cowboy Oliveira. Um,
Mm.
I feel like combined they got dropped like 20 times. like, what was it? I can't remember. Yancey dropped him with a left, and then Cowboy dropped him with a right, or it might have been vice versa.
Oh, like in the first 90 seconds of this fight, Yancy Medeiros drops Cowboy Oliveira. Cowboy Oliveira, fights his way back to his feet. Blitzes like Vitor Belfort, Vanderlei Silva style blitz. Medeiros all the way back into the cage, wraps him up, and proceeds to knee him as hard as humanly possible in the groin. The ref steps in to break up the madness, and as Oliveira is getting pulled off of Medeiros, his face just starts leaking all over the mat like a faucet.
Yeah, his nose was completely just. I don't even know how it was hanging on his face. Like it was just completely busted. Yeah, this fight was kind of like the Gaethje Alvarez fight. Like it was just violence from start to end.
This is kind of like how I thought the Gaethje Alvarez fight was gonna go.
Right? Yeah. Like it's crazy. This fight was bloodier than what that fight was.
It was straight chaos.
Yeah.
Like
Like
the rest of the first round was Oliveira knocking Medeiros down like 4 times and just having him up against the cage and just beating on him. Like it was borderline 10-8. Maybe even 10-7.
But Yancey stuck in there. I like that Oliveira was working those kicks. He was throwing those body kicks pretty consistently. I feel like Oliveira's downfall was that he's kind of a I don't say easy target to hit, but he doesn't do himself any favors. He doesn't really move his head a whole lot.
Yeah.
So like when he's plotting forward, he's just there. It's just a straight line. If you throw, you'll hit him. And like yeah,
Like
I feel like that's how he kept getting dropped.
yeah. Like the second round was
just-
Oliveira landing like the bigger, flashier power shots, but Medeiros countering him over and over and over again, and just like keeping it on like over that broken ass nose he had.
Yeah, and that ending sequence, I don't even know like what happened because like there was just a point where like Oliveira just backed into the cage like I don't know if he got hit by something before then, or if his nose just decided, you know what, we've had enough, and it's time to just.
Oh yeah, that was an absolute Rory McDonald moment.
Yeah, cause he just literally just backed up into the cage and he was like, yeah, I'm out of here, and Yancey just teed off on him, and yeah, Ruff had to come in and pretty much save this man's life because he had clearly just had enough. But yeah, that this fight was just violent, just nice, brutal, violent, blood everywhere. So many knockdowns, like it's insanity. The fight was just pure insanity, but awesome performance from Yancey, another Hawaiian on the card, getting it done. Um, I love watching. I like watching both these dudes fight. This fight actually kind of flew under the radar for me. I forgot this was even happening, but this was definitely a treat.
Dude,
Um,
like
uh,
Oliveira is such a great athlete, but he came to fighting so late. Like, this is what happens.
yeah,
This isn't the rodeo anymore.
but I don't know. He's still, yeah, he's just a big dude. Is huge. Like how he used to make a lightweight. Well, he struggled to make a lightweight, but the fact that he was even a lightweight at one time is like mind blowing.
Yeah.
But awesome fight from both these dudes. All right, this next fight, unfortunately, I can't really comment on because this was one of 3 fights I did not see.
So this was a clusterfuck of like epic proportions.
All right, so always got to be one.
So like let's say the first 60 seconds of the fight are Tamor is just like kicking close, and he is moving out of the way. He's circling and kicking. He's pot shotting with like body kicks and leg kicks and stuff like that. And Drakkar Close is getting very upset. Like he's gesturing to like he's gesturing to Tamor to like come and engage with me, throw some punches, blah blah blah. Like meanwhile, all the offense is coming from Tamor. Tamor is working. So Close looks to Herb Dean, who looks back at Close, yells time, and gets in Tamor's face and is like, "You have to engage," which is bullshit. Because again, Tamor is the only dude working. So at that point, Herb Dean has made it pretty clear that he wants Tamor to play Rock'em Sock'em Robots with like Drakkar Close.
Hold on. So how's the crowd reacting the whole time? This is
Oh, they
happening?
booed the shit out of him when this was happening because like Tamor, I think they knew that Tamor was the only one actually fighting. So the entire fight is basically Tamor kicking the shit out of Drakkar Close. I actually think his leg was more messed up than Joe Rogan was saying on commentary, because it was actually turning a different shade of purple. But
Ooh,
yeah, no,
what that?
Tamor kicked the shit out of him for like 15 minutes, and ended up winning a decision. And Drakkar Close was just very upset that Tamor would not engage with him for like the entirety of the fight, and that's basically how the fight went. Also, there was a few eye pokes. Like actually, almost immediately after Herb tells Tamor that he has to engage more, there was an eye, like Drakkar Close pokes Tamor in the eye. Tamor turns to Herb and is like, "What are you gonna do about it?" And Herb just lets the fight continue, and like Drakkar lands a couple shots off of it. So, Tamor got him back though later in the fight because he poked the shit out of him.
It's always got to be that one fight of just shenanigans.
Yeah, but good win for Tamor. Like Close. If Close had fought like he did in the third, because he was actually like throwing punches and like trying to like grab the leg and throw off of it, and like he would shoot for a takedown, and when it didn't work, he would try to punch him on the break. Like those were the opportunities he could have made for himself, but he didn't because he chose to play to like the ref. So whatever.
I have to go back and watch this. He stop a fight. Ugh. I like her, but he has moments sometimes where it's just kind of like.
I mean, he had one earlier on this card too.
Oh yeah, we haven't even. We haven't even got to that. Oh man. I guess going on down the line, Felice Herrig and Courtney Casey Sanchez. You get married or something?
She is married.
Okay. I was about to say that definitely wasn't her name like a month ago.
No, it was. It was
What?
before. It was before she wasn't even in the UFC. Like I think she goes by Courtney Casey, but like her husband's name is Sanchez. I'm not 100% sure on that. You know, it was really weird. Like one of her stepdaughter follows like me on Tumblr. I can't remember what her name is though.
She got connections.
Yeah. And she said
You know.
Sanchez, so who knows? I don't know.
All right.
Maybe she got divorced in the meantime. I don't know what her life is like.
Man, Felice Herrig has been like quietly on a little run. This is now what 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row.
Yep.
And like at 33 years old, she seems to be getting better somehow.
That's what
Like,
happens when you get a consistent schedule, and you're making money where you can stay in the gym.
Yeah, like she's been improving with age.
Like this is her third fight this year. She's beaten Alexa Grasso, Justine Kish, and Courtney Casey. Like that's a good run.
Yeah, and like she's looked good in all these fights, and she looked pretty good in this one also. Like she put a lot of pressure on Casey. I think she was trying to negate that reach and length. So she did a good job of getting in close, firing off the right hand. I don't know if she like hurt Casey or I don't know. It felt like somewhere in like the second or third, like Casey wasn't engaging as much as she.
Look,
I don't know.
Casey's been known to kind of slow down as fights go on.
Yeah, it just seemed like she just kind of wasn't. There wasn't any. I don't know. It was. I feel like we said it about a couple people. It was like after the first round, like she just wasn't engaging as much as I've like seen from her before.
Yeah. So like the big problem with Courtney Casey is like she's this big, powerful, athletic, strong woman, and like she rarely ever kind of like enforces that. She kind of just goes with the flow of the fight. Like going back to her fight with Jessica Aguilar, Aguilar got her down whenever she wanted, but Casey managed to win every single one of those exchanges by upkicking her like a million times, and that's kind of just like Casey's game in a nutshell. She'll fight you on your terms, and if you're good enough to get around the fact that she's this big, powerful person, like you're more than likely to walk away with a win. And Herrick did a really good job of just like taking like pepper off of Casey's shots by like really closing in the distance. She made sure she was the last one to land on each exchange. Like she landed with that big left hook at least 4 or 5 times, and that's a point scorer in a fight where like it doesn't look like either person's getting hurt. She fought and she was able to bring Casey to fight her at her pace. Like Casey fought the entire fight with her back to the cage, trying to counter Herrick. And that shouldn't be her game. Her game should be aggression and like getting in, putting punches in like her opponent's face.
Well, little bulldog got that W.
We also forgot to mention the best part of the fight. So,
I only watched this once, so this fight I can't remember it as clear as the other ones.
So at one point in the fight, Casey is very like frustrated. So she takes a little bit of the blood leaking from her nose, and flicks it at Felice. They then both exchange with the double birds, and
right.
FS1 is forced to cut away.
And, like, I think that was the point in the fight where I was bothered because I was like, Casey, you're so mad, but you're not doing anything, man. Like you're not. Where's the
I
off?
want to say it's like the weight cut, like, cause like she's known for like having these like strong first rounds and then just like falling off completely. It happened against Calderwood. It happened against Soyam. Like, maybe try 125. You don't gotta cut the weight. You'll still be pretty damn big.
Right. I'm about to say, yeah, you won't. You're probably not even giving up size to anybody. Like, yeah, she. I feel like she's really really talented, but yeah, I don't know if it's just a weight cut, but yeah, that whole bird flipping thing kind of that was that was a wild moment. And then like right after the fight, they shake hands like it didn't happen, like they were all cool.
Yeah.
Even though Casey was pissed that she dropped the split decision, like she seemed pretty adamant that she thought she won. But shout outs to Felice, man. Like I said, quietly on a 4-fight win streak.
Maybe have her rematch Tisha Torres.
Yeah, I'd say at this point, I'd say she's earned it, and like I said, she's seemingly getting better with age. So, yeah, man, shout outs to her. Keep on improving. Oh Lord, this next fight, Amanda Bobby Cooper, Angela. How you say her last name is Magana. Yeah, Amanda Cooper beat the brakes. Yeah, this fight wasn't really close. Takedown and just kind of just beat her up. Like it was like beating up your younger sibling. Like
Which is funny because like Magana looks like she's a foot taller than her.
Right. Like, there's no other way to put it, man. Like, Amanda you just beat the brakes off her. Like, just took her down and just did what she wanted. Like, that was the fight. And it lasted 2 rounds and told the ref decided she had enough.
Oh God. First off, I'm making pretty clear I don't like Angela Magana.
I don't think a lot of people do. Hold on, did she actually make the walk with the service dog? Because I heard her say that on Twitter.
No, she did not.
That she was okay.
She did not. Like shenanigans aside, I do feel bad. You know, she was in Puerto Rico when Hurricane Maria hit, and that's where she spent most of her training camp. Apparently, for those who don't know, Puerto Rico, like half the island is still without power, and a good amount of the people there still don't have like access to like food and clean water. But so like to see her come back after what 2 years away is under those conditions is kind of sad. That being said, why is Angela Magana still in the UFC?
Oh boy, let's click on her. What's the record? All right, she's 11-9. She is on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fight lose streak. She entered the UFC on a lose.
Yeah, she got signed off for Tough.
Yeah, this hasn't gone too well for her.
And don't get me wrong, like most of her losses are to good people. Like Jessica Aguilar, she lost her twice. Jessica Panay, like Panay was once a good fighter before Jessica Joanna Jędrzejczyk happened to her, and Jessica Andrade. Jessica I was a solid flyweight before ever getting in the UFC. Stephanie Eggink is like a former junior Olympic boxer. Tisha Torres, Michelle Waterson, Amanda Cooper, probably the worst of her losses. And Cooper's a promising prospect who just so happened to have run into Tatiana Suarez, Cynthia Calvillo, and Aspen Ladd in her first 6 fights in MMA. So, you know, women's MMA wrought with tough matchmaking from the get-go. That being said, she probably shouldn't be in the UFC anymore.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't really get a chance to show anything in this fight because she just
Cooper,
kind of got a
yeah,
ragdoll the whole
Cooper,
time.
big sistered her pretty bad.
Yeah. That was this fight in a nutshell. Like, there's not a whole lot to even dissect. Yeah. She got sunned. Like that was it. She got sunned.
Yeah,
Um,
Cooper looked smarter than before. Like she fought smarter. When she was on Magana's back, just beating the ever loving crap out of her, she would not, and she would switch up and try to go for a rear naked choke. She didn't try to force it. Like once she realized she didn't get it, she went back to punching. That's something like a lot of young fighters don't get, and they end up losing position. Um, I want to say Torres ended up at the end of the third round against Waterson. Ended up like on the ground because she just didn't realize she was so high up on her hips while Waterson was stacking.
yeah.
So like to see that from Cooper, who has half the experience of Torres, is pretty good. Um, yeah, this was a good performance for Cooper. It was a good fight for her from the get. Hopefully, she gets another fight that's not somebody who is just like a freak.
All right.
Because like, dude, Cynthia Calvillo and Tatiana Suarez in your first like 5 fights in MMA is
Yeah,
not fair.
that's a tough. Yeah, that's. I think she's what 3-3.
3-3, and literally Tatiana Suarez, Cynthia Calvillo, and Aspen Ladd.
Yeah, like those are like that's a murderer's row. Like it's not it's almost not even fair.
Like how you can't even
But
hold those losses against her. Like
yeah, but 2-1 in the UFC. Oh no, 2-2 in the UFC. But yeah, hope to see her back. Dominant performance. So yeah, shout outs to Amanda Cooper. All right, this next fight I did see, which did end in some shenanigans and also involved Herb Dean, Abdul Razak Al Hassan, and Sabah Homasi, if I'm even
Sabah
probably
Hamasi. So
Hamasi.
shouts to Joey who shared this little anecdote that he heard on the Sam Kaplan, um, Jason Floyd podcast, the MMA Insiders. Sam Kaplan, for those was one time Bellator talent relation guy, I believe. I think that was his job. So, but he was talking about one time Hamasi fought for Bellator. He ended up winning his fight. Uh, he also ended up leaving with like a ring girl, and he never saw him again.
Thug life. He said, "I got what I came here
Exactly.
for."
I also want to say
Hey,
he was a
man.
stripper.
Hey man, the man has priorities. He has things and goals he's trying to accomplish, and he went after it. Oh man, but yeah, this fight was pretty wild. Two dudes just kind of throwing. It's kind of the gist of the fight all the way up until the end. Um, So the ending sequence after these two men have thrown everything but the kitchen sink at each other. I think Hassan had him backed against the cage. They're both exchanging. Um, at one point, how did he fall? I'm trying to remember how he ended up on the ground. Cause he did. Did he did? I don't think he got hit. Or did he get
I'm
hit?
not even sure because like they did the replay. It looked like it might have landed, but it can't be 100%.
Yeah, like in real time, it looked like he got hit, but at the replay, I don't even know if the punch landed. But
He
either
fell
way,
straight on his ass.
yeah, which is, I guess, and in that case, I guess I could kind of see where Herb Dean was coming from because, like, if you just look at the motion, it does look like he got hit and he just kind of like fell forward, but
Like
he fell.
and he dove on the leg.
Yeah, he dove on a leg, which I think showed he was still, somewhat cognizant of what was going on. But like immediately after he face plants, Herb calls it off. And
Well, like that's the thing. Like he doesn't face plant because of the punch. He face plants because he's diving on a leg,
but
and his
yeah,
head hits off the ground. And I think Herb thought, "Oh my God, this man's lost consciousness," and he
right.
was on the complete opposite side of like he was on Hassan's back. Like he was looking over Hassan's back, so he had no view of Hamasi. So I just think it was just poor positioning.
Yeah. But good news, you said this fight ended in controversy because of the stoppage, but it got rebooked.
Yeah, UFC 219 according to Dana. They're gonna put it on there, and it's good because this was a great fight, and
Yeah, it
Hamasi
was
deserves a chance of winning.
yeah, and it was a pretty action, like, well, I ain't say pretty. It was an action-packed fight. Like, it was violence from beginning all the way up until that unfortunate end. So glad they'll get to square that off again. Um, I'm really angry at myself for missing this next fight because I've said a lot of good things about Dominic Reyes on this podcast, and I missed this fight. I just completely missed it. I think what had happened was I was watching the beginning of this card, and then like it went on like commercial break, and I didn't think this fight had happened already. Like I thought it was the next fight coming up, so I like just went away to do something. Or I was watching a movie, and then I turned back and I found out the fight's over. I was so angry. I still haven't went back to. I still didn't get a chance to watch this. I'm gonna have to see this because I've been supporting this guy. But Dominic Reyes, Jeremy Kimball. Well, I guess you watched it, so I'll let you talk about what I didn't get a chance to see.
Nothing much to talk about really. Like Kimball comes out and gets a takedown. Reyes immediately gets up, takes Kimball down, gets on top of him, gets his back, and gets the rear naked choke. And it was all smooth. It was all clean. Like neither guy got hurt too much. And Reyes looked like a blue chip light heavyweight prospect. Really, like he's 4-0 in 2017.
Let's go. And as I'll state, and I can't state enough, anybody at 205 who has an ounce of talent, I'm all for. And especially this dude, he's young and has talent. 27 years old, so I'm pulling for you. I'm pulling for you all the way to the top. We need as many new faces in this division as possible, and he seems somewhat promising. So you have my full support.
Yeah, I know I know he's listed as 6'4" and everything, and like he looks it, but he doesn't look like a 205er. He looks like a middleweight.
Yeah, he's not really that big a guy, but
But
I don't know. He seems pretty athletic, pretty skilled, and he can head kick you into another planet.
yeah, he hits pretty damn hard.
Yeah,
7
so-
first-round finishes, 8 wins.
So yeah, shout outs to Dominic Reyes, man. Yeah, if you guys don't know him, keep an eye out. Might be somebody hopefully at 205 in the near future.
Who can
hopefully
pump a little life into this lifeless division.
right. Give us some youth.
Oh.
Give us a new fresh face to work.
I can't wait till he
root
fights
for.
Glover Teixeira.
Right. Glover's his next fight.
Oh, you beat Jeremy Kimball. You're ready for Alexander Gustafsson.
Oh man, 205. What would we do without you? This last fight I actually can't comment on because I didn't see this one either. Justin Willis and Alan Crowder. Did you catch this one?
Yeah. Oh well, I caught the ending. Justin Willis knocked Alan Crowder into like next week. It was a really nice punch. I want to say he hit him with like an overhand right, and then on the follow up hit him with a right hook that just dropped him like a rock.
Ooh.
Yeah, so big shout outs to Justin Willis, who is like Reyes, one of the few young He's dirty. One of the few young bright spots in like this division, I guess. Like
Heavyweight, you gotta take what you
Yeah.
can get. It's kind of like 205. You gotta take what you can
yeah.
get. So
Shouts to Alan Crowder, who basically got on into the UFC off of Dana White's fight series thing because he was a heavyweight. So that did
Hey.
not work out.
we've said it before though. If you're over 220 and you're even remotely athletic, you can probably get into the UFC. You can knock a few people out. You'll get on the radar
You
pretty
don't even
fast.
have to beat anybody. Like you can go fight in like Explode fight series, and then be in the UFC after like 8 fights, like Johnny Bravo.
Oh man, but so that was pretty much all of UFC 218. Pretty awesome card, man, top to bottom. I was pretty entertained. It was kind of different for me because I didn't get to watch the entire event in real time. A lot of it I had to go back and watch the next day. But from top to bottom overall, this is a really solid card. Really dope main card. Ended in awesome fashion. We got a lot of brutal knockouts, and we saw a man get uppercutted so hard his head almost fell off. Like, the dope card, man. Really dope card. I guess next card coming up Saturday is we get Cub and
Ortega.
Ortega.
Ortega still hasn't won a round in which he has like finished his opponent. By the way, where he hasn't finished his opponent. Like I think one of the judges gave him like one of the rounds in the Moicano fight, but I thought he had lost the first 2 rounds before he subbed him in the third.
Hey, man. I'm a big Ortega fan. Hey man, however you get the W, whatever works, it works. I love watching this dude
Featherweight
fight.
needs somebody to break through this top 5 where the guys are still in their prime.
Yeah.
Also in the card, Jason Knight gonna be fighting Gabriel Benitez.
Yeah, like this card has some good names. Eric Anders is back. Liz Carmouche, who I feel like we've mentioned, like we
want to see,
like
but
she just-
never around.
right.
Liz Carmouche,
So-
since making her debut against Ronda Rousey, since 2014, she's had 3 fights. And from what I understand,
No,
she's
it's
been
weird.
healthy for most of the time.
No, it's weird. I don't remember these fights.
Well, they were boring. They were her laying on top of her opponent, or getting laid on top of by her opponent.
She fought Caitlin Chuk again. I don't remember. And this was on the Alvarez McGregor card. I don't remember this fight at all. But I'm glad she's back. I feel like we don't see her often, even though apparently we saw her last year. To me, it just
We only
doesn't
saw
seem like
once.
it.
Also,
she's
on this card, Marlon Moraes, Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah, man, Marlon's right back in there, trying to keep the violence going. So shout outs to him.
Trevin Guile.
Luke Sanders, glad to see him back. Yeah, this is a solid, not huge on star power, quote unquote, but there's still some names, prospects, veterans, good mix of, and pretty solid matchmaking.
It's a good card for Fresno if you're just going to throw a fight night. So it's at the Save Mart Center, appropriate name. It looks like a fun time. And after the week after that, we have UFC on Fox, Lawler Dos Anjos. And that's just
man.
top to bottom fucking awesome.
We also have Alessio Sakara and Bellator fighting Carvalho for the middleweight
So we
title.
didn't get a chance to talk about it, but Bellator 189.
Oh yeah, that did happen.
Julia Budd versus Arlene Blencow in a rematch for the featherweight title. Blencow should have won. It was a god awful fight. I don't know how Julia Budd won any rounds after like the third, because she threw like 5 total punches. Strikes, I should say. She didn't throw punches. She threw kicks. Yeah, no. And now Rafael Carvalho's back. The other man who should have lost his title fight for doing nothing. Or other fighter, I should say. So, but he's fighting Sakara.
Oh my God. So I'm looking at the Lawler Dos Anjos card, and there is a fight that sticks out like a sore thumb on here, boy. Jordan Mean and Eric Silva.
That's perfect.
This fight just makes so much sense.
It hurts.
Uh,
Whoa. Unless Sakara beat Joey Beltran and Brian Rogers.
I guess so. Hold on, I feel like I watched the Brian Rogers fight. That one kind of sounds familiar. I don't remember the Beltran one though.
No wonder he's getting a title fight.
Jordan Mean and Eric Silva. That is the most depressing matchup.
I mean, it's an appropriate one at least.
It's very appropriate. It's appropriate for all the reasons that hurt. It is what it is. But, yeah. We're coming up on about 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh, wait, really quick.
So.
Invicta. Invicta is next Friday. Invicta 26. As much as we respect the crap out of Nico Montano, I think it's safe to say the main event of Invicta 26 will have the better flyweight champion. It's going to be Jennifer Maia defending against Agnieszka Nietzvich. I hope the guy I said that right. They're going to be fighting for the flyweight title. Mackenzie Dern will be making her Invicta debut against Colleen Medeiros. Apparently at 115. I doubt it. So probably really at catchweight. Who else? Karina Rodriguez, next Mexican potential star, like in the same vein as Alexa Grasso. She will be fighting on that card at flyweight against Christine Ferreira, who is the woman who Tiffany Van Zos beat. And there's a bunch of other good stuff on that card too. So just tune in. It's good stuff. It's good times.
Man, I haven't watched. That reminds me, I haven't watched an Invicta card in. It's been a while.
Shame.
I know. I gotta get back on it. Been slacking off.
Oh, Amber Brown, Tessa Simpson.
Hey. Oh man. Well, it's pretty much all the news and fights and things that have gone on. So I guess we'll just do parting shots and shout outs. All right, one of mine isn't really a shout out. It's just a story of a thing that happened. So I just read this literally a couple minutes before we started recording. So if anybody knows Martin Shkreli, he's the pharmaceutical guy who owns the one copy of the Wu-Tang album Once Upon a Time in Shaolin. So he had a little fiasco where he put a little bounty on Hillary Clinton, yada yada, and the government is seizing his assets, or I guess in the process of trying to seize his assets. And two of the items that are looking to be seized are the Wu-Tang album Once Upon a Time in Shaolin and Lil Wayne's The Carter 5. That happened.
This reminds me of the guy who caught Barry Bonds' record-breaking home run for most home runs of all time, and then he had to sell it because the government was going to tax him on it.
Man, this story is just bizarre. So, as of yet, if they get a hold of the Wu-Tang album and the Lil Wayne album, actually, they don't know if they'll become public record or if they'll just be sold back to the original owner. So, meaning Wayne's album will go back to Birdman, Wu-Tang album will go back to RZA. But you know, that's the thing that happened. And last, or actually, you know what? two more quick shout outs. Glory 48, which I didn't get a chance to watch the entire card. I caught most of the Super Fight series, but I missed like the main card. But Tiffany Fanzus fought. Oh, see, Glory, you guys don't do a good job because you don't put their first names on
Anissa.
here. Anissa, Mexan. So I was watching this and Tough at the same time, but this seemed like a pretty close fight. But Anissa did get the nod, so shout outs to her. Van Soos, was she undefeated?
No. She lost to what's her name, Casey Reese, or something like that. In a lion fight a while ago.
Okay.
So,
point being, Van Soos has been a beast for a long time. Doesn't catch L's that often. So, but she took one in that fight. So shout outs to really to both of them. It seemed like a pretty technical fight. Unfortunately, I was watching two fights at the same time, so I couldn't, dive too deep into it. But shout outs to them. Also on the same card, Chris Camozzi won his Glory debut
against the guy.
And yeah, I'm not sure this gentleman's name, but he kind of just walked dude down and did whatever he wanted. Also, shout outs to Camozzi for bringing out Tone Deaf to do his in-ring performance. And it was kind of funny because I was watching. For people who don't know, Tone Deaf is a underground MC out of Brooklyn, and he recently, his Polymer album came out probably like a year ago, but he did a whole Kickstarter campaign to do like CD pressings and a documentary, a bunch of crazy stuff. So, well, not a Kickstarter, but whatever. If you research, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I saw him posted on Twitter that he was walking Chris Camozzi out. So, shout out to Tone Deaf, performed in Madison Square Garden. I do really like Tone Deaf as a rapper, though. Polymer is a really amazing album. If you want to listen to rap fused with like electronic and a bunch of other stuff, like that, the album's awesome. So yeah, shout out to Glory 48, Chris Camozzi, Tone Deaf, good stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
For me, I got two. First off, shout out to Naoko Fujioka, the woman fighting out of Japan. She won her 5th world championship in boxing, in her 5th different weight class. She's fought everywhere from minimum weight at like 108 pounds to like bantamweight, I think. Yeah, so she won the like WBO World Light Flyweight Championship on what was it, Friday? So shouts to her. Big shout out, especially because she's 44 years old. Yeah. So all you old people out there, you have no excuse. Like she legitimately didn't start boxing until so she's 40. No, she's 42. So she didn't start boxing professionally until she was 34.
Jesus.
Yeah, and she's won 5 world titles in 5 different weight classes. So that's amazing to me. And also shout out to Miguel Cotto, who we didn't get a chance to talk about, and I don't think either one of us saw the fight. He won Saddam Ali in what was billed as his retirement fight. He ended up losing. I from what I've read, he did not look like Miguel Cotto of old, or even the one that fought Canelo. He looked his age. He looked worn. It was a competitive fight. I think it was 115, 113 on 2 of the judges' scorecards, maybe just the one. But yeah, no. If this is really, and this probably should be the end of his career. Like from what I understood, like Cotto's one of those dudes who's been smart with his money. And he's had like quite a few paydays, like really good paydays. Like Rock Nation was supposed to pay him like $10 million for like one of his recent fights. Oh, it was going to be for the proposed, what was it? What's the guy's name? The Ann Wolf fighter. The guy Canelo may spit around. James Kirkland.
Oh,
Rock,
it may spin around.
Yeah, Rock Nation was supposed to pay. That was supposed to be a pay-per-view. Rock Nation was supposed to pay Cotto $10 million for it. I don't know like who came up with that number, but that pretty much tells me everything I need to know about like Rock Nation sports. But so I'm assuming he's taken care of. You know, like Cotto does not need to do this shit anymore.
Yeah.
He's won weight class. I think he's won titles in like 4 or 5 different weight classes. Like, I get some people don't. There's a surprising amount of people who aren't on like who are down on Cotto's legacy, but dude's been an absolute pleasure to watch. So, you know, if this is really the end, it's been a great ride, and hopefully you find something to do that satisfies you.
Go enjoy that money you made. That's what you can do. Just go chill out, go relax, spend time with your family, spend all that money you've worked hard for all this time. Shout out to anybody playing fantasy football. I'm getting bodied right now, 143 to 75.
You see, that's where me and you different. We're different. Like, if I was losing, I'd be cursing out everybody playing fantasy football.
Thing is, this loss is so bad that I can't even be mad. Like, I knew I was losing the second the game started. I started this day off down 83 to 7, so I already knew it was a bad day. Because somehow Josh McCown got 31 points. Who is Josh McCown?
Whatever. I don't even know who.
Josh McCown's a terrible quarterback for the New York Jets, but somehow he got 31 points. And yeah, whatever. Fantasy football's a whack, but I'm still number one in my league anyway, so whatever. You guys suck. Except for whoever's beating me right now. Hopefully I don't play you in the playoffs. I don't want that smoke. Anywho, this podcast can be listened to on YouTube, SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes. If you listen on iTunes, please like, subscribe, rate, all that.
Also like on YouTube.
Yes, also on YouTube, and subscribe on YouTube. If you have any questions, you can send those to Dojotalkpodcast at yahoo.com. As I say, I check it about once a day, see if anybody sends any cool messages. So, drop by, leave a comment. We might read it on the show. And, yeah, pretty much it for this week. We'll be back next week, of course, to talk about Ortega and Swanson card. I also have some music reviews, hopefully, lined up soon. And, yeah, the year of MMA is actually almost coming to a close. I want to do something special for... You know what, I'll keep it under wraps because I don't even have any idea, so I'm just going to shut up. I'm not going to throw anything out there. I don't want to lie to y'all. But we'll try to do something cool for the end of the year. We'll just keep it at that. But, as always, anytime people are being punched and or kicked in the face, we will be there to talk about it, and hopefully we catch you guys soon.